The second key feature of Rodzer is the ability to manipulate and prepare data so it can later be analyzed in Power BI. This feature is especially important because we're the only platform in the market currently offering this capability. It enables users to organize their project data in a way that makes it easy to extract meaningful and useful insights in Power BI. To manipulate the data, we use Google Sheets as the database. Google Sheets works just like Excel and is familiar to most users, making it easy to work with. To begin this process, we need to generate a report. When we generate a Power BI report in Rodzer, the platform creates a database that allows us to interact with the information coming from the model. To do this, go to the Data Studio tab and click on Generate Report. Here, Rodzer will prompt you to select the model variables you want to extract and organize for use in Power BI. By default, all variables from the model are selected. However, as you probably know, Revit automatically creates a large number of variables, many of which we don't actually need for analysis in Power BI. So we'll deselect everything and, for now, select only the variable 4D task ID. Click Select, then choose the current report template. It's the only one available at this time, though more templates will be added in the future. Once selected, Rodzer begins generating the report. It extracts the requested variable, in this case 4D task ID from the model, and organizes it into a structured database, making it easier for you to manipulate. Once the report is generated, Rodzer automatically downloads it to your device. Now, to continue working with the data, go to the Subscription tab and click on Manage Slots. A slot refers to a data slot reserved for each model. Every time you generate a report in Rodzer, whether from a Revit, Navisworks, or AutoCAD file, a unique slot is created specifically for that model. Look for the slot that corresponds to your file. In this case, Rodzer Base. In the corresponding row, you'll find a column with a direct Google Sheets link. Open that spreadsheet. The first sheet in this Google Sheets file shows the variables you previously asked Rodzer to extract from the model. Within this sheet, you can apply a second-level filter to decide which variables you actually want to display and use at the moment. For example, you can select the 4D task ID from the list. This database is already set up so that the pivot table on the second sheet updates automatically based on the variables you select in the first sheet. Where does this data come from? It's pulled from a sheet named Properties. This is the only sheet you should not modify. Rodzer manages this sheet automatically. What Rodzer does is extract the data directly from Revit or whichever model you uploaded and load it into this Properties sheet. From there, it pulls the variables you requested, such as 4D task ID, and matches them with the appropriate values. That's why in the pivot table, you'll first see all values associated with the 4D task ID of 91. And then below that, you'll see the rest of the grouped values accordingly. At this point, we've only asked Rodzer to extract one variable from our model. However, Rodzer also gives us the ability to update an existing report and its database in case the model is later updated in Revit, or if we forgot to include a variable during the initial report generation. Let's say we forgot to request a specific variable. In that case, we go back to the Data Studio tab and click on Generate Report again. This time, we'll select additional variables. For example, we'll reselect 4D task ID. Even though it was already included, we need to select it again. And now we'll also select the volume variable and the area variable as well. It's very important that after selecting the last variable, you remove any active filters in this section. If you don't, the database will only display values for the last filtered variable, which could lead to incomplete data in your report. Once the filters are cleared, go ahead and click Select, and the database will now be updated with all the selected variables. As you can see, instead of saying Generating Report, the system now says Updating Report, which means Rodzer is updating the existing Google Sheets file with the new variables. After a few moments, the report is updated, and Rodzer automatically downloads the new version of the file to your computer. Previously, we looked at how to update a report when you want to extract additional variables from an existing model. However, it's also possible to update the report if your Revit model itself has changed and now contains new or updated data. How do we do this? We first go to Google Drive, and in the same location where the original model is stored, we simply replace the file with the updated version. It's very important that you upload the new model with exactly the same file name. That way, Google Drive recognizes it as the same file, just a newer version. For example, here I have a version of the model that includes a small change, just to demonstrate how this works. I drag and drop the file into my Google Drive folder. As soon as I do this, Google detects that the file already exists and asks if I want to replace the existing file or keep both versions. In this case, I choose Replace the existing file so that Rodzer can detect the update and allow me to regenerate the report based on the latest version of the model. We wait a moment for the new file to finish uploading. Once it's uploaded, we return to Rodzer, go back to the option to select the model for viewing, and navigate to the updated file in our Google Drive. Since Rodzer already processed this model before, the translation is much faster. It recognizes the file and updates the internal model structure accordingly. Now we simply repeat the steps to generate the report. We choose the variables we want to include: for, D task ID, volume, and area. Don't forget to remove the default filter, just as we did before. Rodzer now shows that it is updating the existing report, and shortly after, the updated version is automatically downloaded to your device. We can also go to Google Sheets, where we'll see that the new properties extracted from the updated model have already been added to our dataset. If they don't appear immediately, you can simply refresh the sheet. Now, from the main sheet, we can choose to display the two new properties. And in the Pivot Table tab, we'll see that each element now shows its corresponding 4D task ID, along with either volume or area, depending on what was measured in Revit for each element. This concludes the process of how to manipulate and update data imported from Revit into your Rodzer-powered database. But it's very likely that you also have external data, information that was not included in the Revit model, but that you still want to bring into Power BI to enrich your analysis and reporting. In the next video, we'll look at how to merge external data sources, such as an Excel spreadsheet, into the same dataset that Rodzer uses to feed data to Power BI.